Inheritance, an Upper Earth novel. Chapter 3, The White Path. In the gloom, Kath couldn't see the water that dripped from the rocks above, but its regular pitter-patter became a constant companion in the silence of the tunnel. Hours had passed since her capture. Has the sun risen yet? When Kipper sees I'm missing, he'll come looking for me. Then she remembered how she'd ignored him the night before. No, he won't come. He'll think I've moved on to another neighbourhood or another city. That's what runaways did. They moved on. She walked ahead of Screed, secured to him by a length of twine threaded through the bindings at her wrists. If only I could get him to walk in front, then I might have a chance of escape. She made herself stumble, as though she tripped on an unseen rock. How am I supposed to see where I'm going without a light? She complained, stopping and turning round. It would be easier if I walked behind you. In answer, Screed sniggered. That would be right, so you could bash my brains in with a rock soon as my back was turned. He held out the firefly lamp. Here, you carry it a while. Can't we rest? Kath asked. I'm tired and thirsty. Screed bent low, as if to grovel before her. Oh, I do apologise, milady. Is there something old Screed can do to make your journey more comfortable? Would it please milady if I carried her on my back? No, she said, wondering whether she had gone too far. She hadn't seen him angry yet. He stood up, with a cruel look on his face. What's your name? Kath. Short for Catherine or Kathleen? He snapped. Catherine. Well, Catherine, we're going to get along just fine, so long as you don't take me for an idiot. Any more belly aching, and you'll be walking with a gag on you. We'll rest now, because I feel like resting. If you want to drink, you put your mouth against this rock, where the water's coming down. You won't find no china teacups down here. When Kath had drunk her fill, she sat down, with her back against the rock wall. Screed didn't seem tired at all. He played with his pet mouse, letting it skitter in and out of his clothes. Finally, it settled on his outstretched hand and he shared some dry old bread with it. Do they share fleas as well? She took the time to study him, searching for points of weakness where she might gain the upper hand. Screed was much shorter than Kath, but she had the impression that under those baggy clothes he was stronger than he looked. She noticed his hands were large and muscular, and underneath his coat he hid a surprising number of things. He'd produced a knife that made quick work of the twine he used to bind her, and at one point she'd glimpsed the coils of a whip. I will find a way out of this. It's not like I never hit trouble before. This was just another bad throw of the dice, and she had to deal with it. She didn't have the luxury of relying on parents to protect her. Kath had been on her own since the age of 11, when she ran away from her 5th foster family. She thought back to when she'd been cornered by 3 members of the Digbeth gang. They were mean-looking digger boys, but she kept her cool and used her head. She teased them for needing 3 big kids to take on one small skinny girl. It bought her the time she needed, enough to find an opportunity when she could make a run for it. That was what she had to do now, bide her time and wait for the right moment. To have any hope of getting away, she had to catch the brute off guard. Be friendly with him, not too much, just enough to make him believe she wouldn't be any trouble. Never knew there were tunnels under the city. She tried to sound like she was genuinely interested. Who built them? Screed raised his head and turned around in surprise. In the dim light of the firefly lamp, his eyes shone. The Scratter dug it. They're good at digging, and this tunnel goes for miles, connects your city with Neverland. He smiled slyly. Neverland? Only Neverland I know is in Peter Pan. He grinned. Yeah, bit like that it is. Kath tried hard not to show how revolted she was by his hideous teeth and fingernails. She made her voice light-hearted as she edged closer to the question that might help her escape. So, this way's Neverland and that way's Birmingham. The corners of his eyes crinkled in amusement. More or less, but you can't get out without me, dearie. The gate's closed if you don't have the key. Everything and everywhere was dark. Dark passages led to dark corners and even darker slopes. From time to time, small lights hovered like dancing stars, adding a tinge of beauty to the shadows. When Kath came too close, the lights became agitated and streaked away, leaving the murky gloom to close in around her once again. In some places, they had to climb over boulders. In others, they would squeeze through narrow gaps. Occasionally, there were forks in the passageway, but Screed didn't hesitate. He seemed to know these paths well. Kath soon realised, though, that their path led only downwards. After a while, the continual descent made her knees jar with every step as they went deeper and deeper into the earth. Eventually, Screed paused and seemed confused. "What trickery is this?" he muttered. "No air, no draught, but why that should be I don't rightly know." He scratched his head and paced about, searching for an answer to the riddle. Kath took advantage of this time to rest, wearily sliding down the wall of the tunnel into a sitting position. "What's up?" she asked. At first he didn't reply, lost as he was in his own thoughts and mumblings. She cleared her throat and spoke again, only louder this time. "I said, what's up?" "It's like this," he explained. "I got to choose between one of these passages. See, normally I'd turn right here, but the way's blocked. I can smell it. Most likely the roof's caved in. So that leaves me with only two choices. We go left, we pass through a colony of scratter, and that's nigh on impossible. They're always on the lookout for a bit of fresh meat. And straight on takes us through the white path. I don't like that one little bit." Backwards and forwards he walked, unable to make a decision. Then finally he stood still, with a wretched look on his face. "May the hooded one protect us. I can't see no solution. It has to be the white path." "Oh, come on," laughed Kath. "You're just trying to scare me. This path could be white, black, or the colour of a rainbow for all I care. There's nothing down here but soil, rocks and bats." "It's not called the white path for nothing," said Screed, his eyes transfixed by the firefly lamp. "Many has passed that way, and many has never been seen again. It's said that their bones found their way into the path. That's what makes it white." He shuddered. At that moment, Kath's walls of bravado began to crumble. On the street, she knew how to act, who to trust, and who to fear. There, her self-defence mechanisms were finely honed. Here, with Screed's deranged babbling, she no longer knew what to believe. A knot of panic gripped her gut and spread outwards to her limbs. "If it's such a terrible place, we turn back," she shouted. "Forget all about this. Let me go, and I promise I won't tell anyone." Screed stared at her. "Have you seen the lights following us? Look pretty, don't they? Those lights are the hooded one's ears and eyes, his servants. Through them, he knows everything that goes on down here." He lowered his voice to hardly a whisper. "If I let you go, he'll do unspeakable things to me. It's said that he walks these tunnels unseen, just when you think no one's listening. He'll be there waiting for you to betray him. No, we keep going." Kath didn't say any more. Every time she asked a question, the response was either full of fairy tales or full of nightmares. Maybe he was playing with her. Maybe he wanted to frighten her, to make her dependent on him. "That way," he muttered. "The white path it is." When Kath moved to walk in front, he stopped her with a hand. "If there's trouble," he said, "most likely it'll come from the front. Best if I go first now, and don't be trying anything. Without me, you're easy prey." Kath bit her lip. She knew he was right. "Without him, I'd be lost down here, and if there are creatures in these tunnels, best not to think about it," she decided. From that point on, Screed's behaviour altered. His eyes darted here and there, always on the lookout for a threat. From time to time, he sniffed the air, testing for changes in air movement. "He's really frightened," thought Kath. "Is there something down here?" Even the sound of their footsteps echoing in the narrow tunnel made her jittery. When they came to an opening in the wall of rock ahead, Screed halted and placed a finger over his mouth, a signal that she should now be utterly silent. Then he inched forwards like a wary mouse. Beyond the natural stone doorway lay a great chamber. Kath stayed close to Screed, her eyes grappling with the darkness. But the chamber was too large, and its walls and ceiling too distant. On all sides they were surrounded by shadow, and she could only make out indistinct forms. She glanced at Screed's firefly lamp. "That's just great," she thought. "It's like a beacon saying, 'Come and get us, we're over here.'" Yet without it, they would have no hope of seeing an enemy. The glow of the fireflies lit their way across the cavern's rock floor, and when her gaze lowered, she saw that they were standing on a white path.